For daily Ask Reddit, Redditors who have gone/were declared missing. What is your story? As a paramedic, we once attended a call for a male with sore feet. Attended a lay-by by the side of a road to a perfectly polite chap who did have some very nasty blisters. He'd been to a family funeral, got a bit upset, and had gone for a walk to clear his head, then just kept walking. For 4 days. Turns out he was from the same area as where I grew up, about 250 miles away, and we reminisced about the countryside and some of the good pubs, etc. He admitted that maybe he was a bit depressed and probably needed some help. Unfortunately, all we could offer was a trip to hospital, but we did what we could. Later that shift, I'm perusing Facebook and see an old school friend has shared a missing person appeal. It's our walking patient. I rang the police and told them where our chap was, and they were very pleased, as they expected a dog walker to find him hanging somewhere. I forget how old I was, but I was probably around 10. My friend and I started raking leaves for cash around our suburban neighborhood. We kept going house to house, asking anyone who had a tree in their yard if they wanted them raked for $5. We eventually went to so many houses we got ourselves lost within the crisscross streets of the neighborhood, since we really never left our block of houses beforehand. Then the sun set, and we found ourselves lost trying to recognize street names or anything familiar in the dark with only street lights lighting the way. Eventually, as we're wandering lost, we hear cop sirens and lights blare and pull over and ask for our names. We got picked up and taken back to our houses. It felt like a long drive to us 10-year-olds, but in reality it was like 4 blocks lol. Boy, did we get the biggest scolding ever, and our parents took our hard-earned money. I left the abusive household I grew up in, leaving a note clearly stating my intentions to never return. An hour or two later, I received a call from the police stating that I'd been declared missing. I explained to them my circumstances and they wished me well. Since I was of age, I was free. It'll be 3 years soon. Edit. Fixed a typo. Edit 2. Holy guacamole, there's so many of you. I woke up this morning to a whole lot of love, and I'm so thankful for each and every one of you beautiful people. I was going to try and answer everyone individually, but I'm starting to realize that it's a bit of a momentous task, so I want to thank y'all all collectively for the awards and for sharing your own stories. I'm proud of those of you who took the necessary steps to secure your freedom and happiness. I know that it can get lonely in this big old world of ours, so if anybody needs a friend to chit chat with, my inbox is open. And seriously, thank y'all all again. My heart is fuzzy and warm today. I was on vacation for 3 weeks. In the second week, my boss called me and asked if everything is okay because the police called them and told them that I was declared missing. My neighbor called the police because he didn't hear me for over a week and was worried about me. Was kind of a good feeling. Edit. Wow, my most upvoted post is about me who was just drunk for 3 weeks and got declared missing. XD, thank you guys. The story of how I went missing is also one of my first memories. When I was 5, I went on holiday with my family to Scotland. We were in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by nothing but land dominated by trees. There wasn't much to do, so my sister and I played hide and seek. I thought it would be a great idea to hide right next to the front door of the cottage we were staying in, inside of a giant bush. I watched my sister look for me for about 5 minutes until she clearly gave up and went inside. However, I never give up on anything and decided to stay until I was found. After a short period, 15 minutes or so, more people started playing the game. I now watched my parents sprint around in front of me while I silently giggled in the bush thinking I'm so good at this game. More and more people started to play, other holiday goers in cottages nearby, park rangers and police. I stayed in that bush for hours and hours until it got dark, having the time of my life. My sister was only 7, so she didn't help look for me and just sat by the doorstep. As it got darker outside, my yellow jacket got brighter, and after a whole day of searching for me in the nearby woods, my sister realized I was stood right next to her. Best game of hide and seek ever. I had a mental breakdown in 2015 after losing a job after having a hard year, so I packed a bag, got on my motorbike, and rode to a party spot, Gold Coast. I got out enough cash to hold me over for a week and turned off my mobile before I left town. I spent a whole week just hitting the beach, partying, hitting bars and clubs. I stayed at a backpacker hostel and hung out with random backpackers. Overall it was an amazing and refreshing week. I left to ride back home. Just before the Great Dividing Range I got pulled over by the cops. Turns out, my 2 coworkers I saw after I got fired were worried, so they came by my house just to check up on me. My housemates then didn't see me for a few days after being told that I'd been fired, so they searched town and reported me to the cops as missing. I had a known history of depression and suicidal tendencies. The cops searched through my records. No mobile phone activity, no social media activity, no contact with family members. So it turns out, while I was off trying to just escape my shitty life for a week, everyone thought I'd killed myself or something. My license plate number was flagged, so when I went past the highway patrol it must have come up on their computer to pull me over. The cop was actually quite nice. He mainly just wanted to know I was okay. He called in and had me removed as a missing person. In Australia, once you're listed as a missing person you have to be cited and verified by a police officer to be removed. I got home 8 hours later to a lot of worried people. I honestly thought no one gave a duck about me. If I knew it was going to cause so much trouble I would have at least left a note. My cousin was kidnapped when he was very young, maybe 4/5. My aunt was living in Belgium at the time. He was kidnapped and thrown in a car, witnessed by many people. Police were called. My poor aunt was frantic. He was left at the side of a road about 8 hours later, but to this day they never found out who took him, where they took him to, and what happened to him while he was gone. It's a taboo subject that I could never bring up to my aunt. I ran away from home due to my alcoholic stepmom. My dad would always file a missing person report and cops would eventually find me and bring me home. At 15 I was homeless for 6 months, and selling acid for food and a place to stay was still better than dealing with my stepmom. She drank herself to death, and I found peace.
What we do here is go back.